Hello and welcome to the presentation on student life. We are Amy and Mark from Writtle University College, and today's presentation will be going over the progression into university and pathways, the day in the life of a student, student finance, and then a quick quiz on budgeting. So who are we at Writtle University College? We are a specialist college and university located in Chelmsford, Essex, set within 150 acres of stunning countryside, which is equivalent to 5,735 double tennis courts. But we also have close links to towns and cities nearby, such as London. We are an industry leader for land-based careers, and we are Ofsted rated good as of March 2018. We have approximately 1,200 16 to 18-year-old students, and they study full-time, part-time, or an apprenticeship. We offer level 2 and 3 certificates and diplomas, and offer a hands-on style of learning, so our courses are very practical. We have a wide range of subjects and facilities covering animal, land, and sports. And to reiterate, there's just a lot of beautiful scenery around us, as you can see in the pictures. So first we're going to have a little talk about progression to higher education and pathways. So these are the levels of qualifications. So if you've completed GCSEs grades 9 to 4, you have level 2 qualifications. And if you are currently studying your A-levels, advanced apprenticeship, or level 3 diploma or BTEC, you'll be studying for those level 3 qualifications. From that, you can go on and do various types of degrees, foundation degrees, that's a level 5, an undergraduate degree, which would land you at level 6, or a degree apprenticeship, which is a bachelor's or a master's respectively, so level 6 and 7. A foundation degree, as you can see, will start at level 3, as the foundation year is effectively equivalent to your A-levels, and then will end you with the same sort of degree level at level 6. And a doctorate at the top, as you can see, would be level 8. So we have a quick quiz for you. What levels are the following qualifications? So for the answers, you can just go back on this recording and then match up the qualification with the correct level. So everyone's way into university is very different. So for example, for me, I was really into literature as a child. I loved Harry Potter, but I was unsure about what I wanted to study. I just thought about it. I really liked reading. It sort of came to mind, and after a gap year, I ended up going on to study English literature at the University of Surrey, where I developed my love for Woolly Shakes, or Shakespeare as you better know him. During that time, I also took on a placement year where I taught English in Japan and Korea. I really enjoyed my time teaching English and thought about that as a career further. So I took on a English language teaching qualification, so I'm a qualified language teacher. Hadn't had enough education then, so I went on and did a master's in linguistics at Lancaster University, and I have found my way here as an outreach officer in Writtle University College, which is something that I was interested in because I'd done the outreach student ambassador role.
Hello, so I actually started from a very young age with a passion for animals. I always thought I would want to be a vet, but I went on a work placement when I was only about 16 for a couple of weeks, and I just really didn't enjoy it at all. I wasn't sure what I was going to do until I went on a volunteering placement in Ecuador. I spent my summer there, about 6 weeks, found that I absolutely loved it. And that was it. That was what I wanted to do. I wanted to get into hands-on working with wildlife in various places around the world. So unfortunately, I didn't get the A-levels that I was expected to. So I went in for my degree at foundation degree level. So I took a 4-year course, and that was in wildlife ecology and conservation science in the west of England, in Bristol. I actually took a placement year as well, so I made my course last for 5 years. I did that placement in Costa Rica, and that's when I realised that this was it for me. This is what I knew I was going to do. So when I finished my degree, I went out to Bolivia, where I spent the next year and a half managing a centre for large cats. But I actually realised that to get to where I want to be in a position where I get to kind of make these good decisions and do the best thing possible for the animals under my care, that I wanted to further my education and get a master's. So now here I am at Writtle. So yeah, a day in the life of a student here at Writtle. Obviously it's going to be a bit different if you're a master's student as when you're an undergraduate, but for me it involves coming into university and just kind of increasing my knowledge base. So if that's working in the library on my own, working on one of my many projects that I have due in, or it could actually be, as it's going to start in the next couple of weeks, going and doing my own research. So this is going to be for my dissertation module, so I'm going to be working alongside a lot of the zoos, doing some practical hands-on research. It's also going to lectures, so I have 2 full days of lectures every week, and then socialising. It's incredible that a lot of the people here have the same kind of background as me, so we get along very, very well. I now have started to work as a student ambassador as well, alongside doing some odd jobs here and there outside of university. And then there's always time to just relax as well. So it's a nice balanced day.
Okay, so next up we'll be talking about student finance, which sounds really scary, but don't worry, it's a really, really easy topic once you break it down. So first thing to think about are the 4 words on the screen: grants, scholarships, loans, and bursaries. Can you match up the correct word with the right definition? If you want, you can pause this video to do the activity. Otherwise, spoiler alert, the answers are coming. So, grants, that's money given by an entity, often a public body such as a university or Student Finance England, or a charitable foundation that is given to an individual to go to university. Unlike loans, they are not paid back. That means they are literally free money for you to take to go to university. Scholarships is a payment made to support a student's education, awarded on the basis of academic or other achievement. They are also not paid back. So, for example, you might have a scholarship because you are an extremely good athlete. Loans is money from Student Finance England that you'll need to pay back after you start making £27,295. This sum is subject to change, but this is what it is at the time being. And if you make under that amount of money, you are not paying a single penny back. And finally, bursaries is a type of grant that is awarded by either Student Finance England or the chosen universities, such as Writtle University College. It is often aimed to support specific backgrounds or individuals into study, and like the bursaries and the scholarships, and the grants, they are not paid back. They are free money for you. So university has 2 different sets of cost. The first is tuition fees. These are up to £9,250, and this may change again by the time you get to university, so it's important to keep up to date with current news on admission fees. Around 10% of the students in the UK will choose to pay this fee up front, but the majority will take out a tuition fee loan. This is provided by Student Finance England and is paid directly to the university. Any UK students that apply for a tuition fee loan will receive the full sum in a year, no matter what course they go on, what grades they receive, or the parental household income. So whatever the situation, the cost of your course is covered. Living costs can be categorised as every other cost at university that is not your tuition fees. Most 18-year-olds will not have access to thousands of pounds of savings to cover these costs, but don't worry, living costs can be covered at university by a maintenance loan. And this is paid directly into your bank account at the start of each term. And the amount you will receive depends on the household income and where you live while studying. So here is a small example of this. If your household income is £25,000 and you are living at home whilst you're studying, you would be eligible for £7,987 of maintenance fee loan. Whereas if you're living away from home and studying outside of London, for example at Writtle, you'd be eligible for £9,488. All of these sums of money might look like a lot, but they're paid in 3 instalments throughout the academic year to make sure that you don't spend it all at once. So the more household income you have, the less money you will receive as a maintenance loan. So another way of looking at this is this sort of mountain diagram we have here. Effectively, if you're living at home whilst you study, you will receive the least amount of money, whereas if you live away from home and are studying in London, you will receive the most amount of money. However, again, the more household income you have, the lower this figure will be. And this is the maximum maintenance loans for year 2020-2021, and is also subject to change. So all of these loans might sound really scary, and it's fine. Don't worry about it. The payments are very small, as you can see here. Repayments start in the following April after you graduate, and they are based on your income, not how much money you borrow. Your repayments will be 9% of any money over the threshold, which at the moment stands at £27,295. You can see on the chart roughly what your monthly payments would be depending on your salary. So if you're making £27,294, you'll be repaying £0 back a month. But if you make £29,500, as you can see on this diagram, the monthly repayment would be £18.75, which you can think as a really nice meal out at Nando's or a phone contract. So there is additional help available if you feel like you are struggling financially. Student Finance England provide loan-free bursaries, so that's money you don't need to pay back if you have a children or an adult who depends on you financially. So that's a childcare grant, parents' learning allowance, or an adult's dependent grant. Writtle University College also offers a variety of bursaries and scholarships for students, such as the Mature Learners Return to Learn bursary, the Care Leavers bursary, or a specialised scholarship and bursaries from renowned areas of expertise. If you've got a disability, you can also get further help on top of bursaries and grants from Disabled Students Allowance. And this can be applied for throughout your time at university, so you don't necessarily need to start off with the application. There are also external charities and companies that offer funding for students and prospective students. These awards are not loans and do not need to be paid back. The amount awarded differs, and you will need to research what is out there for you. And there are some search hubs such as turntous.org.uk or the Scholarship Hub that can help you find out what is relevant for you. For example, the Student Health Association provides additional funding of up to £500 for students with a disability. So that would be on top of the Student Disability Allowance from Student Finance England. And there are also additional grants available for professional athletes undertaking a degree. The application deadlines for these would vary, so you need to keep an eye out and plan ahead. So lastly, on to our budgeting quiz.
So, how much do you think the average student will spend on rent and bills each month? Just give you a couple of moments, and it is, £421. So that will be either accommodation in your first year or when you move out, if you choose to, in second year, third year, if you're doing an undergrad degree, that's how much you're expected to pay in a room in a shared house. So, how much does the average student spend on groceries each month? This is £101, so you're expected to kind of feed yourself when you're here. So yeah, that's how much you'd pay. So, true or false? The average student spends £20 a month on gifts and charity. It's actually false, so they spend £13. So that was from a nice little study done, so that's actually how much people spend on other people. And I guess once you start getting control of your own finances a little bit more, you can kind of decide what you want to do with it. So true or false? The average student phone contract costs £15 a month. And this is true. So these are the kind of things you have to kind of think about budgeting for yourself. If you know how much money you're going to get in advance, you can really do something like make a nice Excel spreadsheet. just to kind of keep track of all of these costs, because although they will look little, they do add up. Which of these costs the average student £41 a month? So that's takeaways. So it might be a typical Domino's or Nando's, as Amy's a big fan of. But yeah, so this is kind of one thing to keep an eye out. You can spend half your grocery shopping on just takeaways a month. So yeah, just share below in the chat box how much you think you would spend on takeaways as a student. Be this, yeah, no one's going to judge you for this. We just kind of want a little bit of interaction, a bit of feedback, because it will probably surprise you. Once you find you're living away from home, it's very easy just to get a cheeky pizza instead of spending your precious time cooking for yourself.
Mark, would you say you spend £41 a month on takeaway?
I do not want to disclose that information. It's a little bit embarrassing. No, currently I'm actually moved back home because of the pandemic, so I'm a little bit more controlled than I was at university. But it's very easy. People talk about peer pressure in a kind of bad way, but actually takeaways are a real thing. If one person in your flat says, "Oh, does anyone want a pizza?" it's very, very hard to say no. So yeah.
So as you can see, the numbers for everyone will vary, but these are just averages. So it's always worth thinking about what your own spending pattern might be like and how it might change as you go to university. So thank you very much for joining us today. So you've had a little bit of a discussion about different pathways into higher education, as well as student finance, and lastly a short little quiz on budgeting. Thank you very much again, and if you have any questions, please drop us a line at marketing@writtle.ac.uk, and feel free to follow us on any social media.